Who are the best players in the NBA bubble? The NBA regular season is finally set to resume at the end of July, and 22 teams will be participating in the bubble in Orlando, Florida. The remaining teams have to fight hard to hold on to or steal playoff slots in their final 8 games, so everyone will have an incentive to compete and use their best players. This season will act as a referendum for the league's star players, who will have to lead their teams despite not having played in a single game since March. It will be a test of will for the NBA's best, and whoever steps up to the plate and delivers will take home the Larry O'Brien Trophy when it's all said and done. Today, we're going to go over the best players from the 22-team bubble. Be sure to stay until the end so you can find out who needs to take over for your team to succeed in Orlando. And remember to subscribe for more NBA content. Starting off with the best team in the league, Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks will be a force to be reckoned with this year. They have the best record in the NBA at 53-12, and Giannis is well on his way to winning back-to-back MVP awards. At the moment, he's averaging a ridiculous 29.6 points, 13.7 rebounds, and 5.8 assists per game. The only question is whether or not his teammates will give him the support he needs to win big games. Chris Middleton will have to be a reliable second option on offense again, and guys like Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez, and George Hill will have to contribute on both ends of the floor. In the West, the Los Angeles Lakers are the obvious favorite to win it all. LeBron James is dead set on winning his 4th championship, and he's been putting up numbers that are simply uncanny for someone in his 17th season. He's currently averaging 25.7 points, 7.9 rebounds, and a league-leading 10.6 assists, making him the next best favorite to win MVP behind Giannis. LeBron will also have more help than Giannis on his quest for another ring thanks to the addition of Anthony Davis. James and Davis will lead the way in these playoffs, while role players like Kyle Kuzma, Danny Green, and Dwight Howard will provide some dynamic scoring and much-needed experience for the team. The LA Clippers pose the biggest threat to the Lakers for the conference title. They're 44-20, and they sport one of the league's best duos in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Leonard, who's averaging 26.9 points, 7.3 rebounds, and 5 assists this season, will need to channel the energy he used to bring Toronto a title to do the same for the Clippers this year. He should receive ample help from George, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, and the rest of the team. One of the more overlooked teams playing in the bubble is the Dallas Mavericks, who have a 40-27 record and one of the best offenses in the NBA. Thanks to the efforts of star point guard Luka Doncic, the Mavs own the 7th seed in the West right now. Though it's only his 2nd season in the league, Doncic is averaging an insane 28.7 points, 9.3 rebounds, and 8.7 assists per game. Not only that, but he has one of the best wingmen in basketball in Kristaps Porzingis, who can stretch out defenses with his shooting and block shots on the other end. The Mavericks could surprise some people in Orlando if these two show up to play. Just below the Mavs in the 8th spot in the West are the Memphis Grizzlies, who are barely holding on to their postseason spot despite having a 32-33 record. No one expected them to be in this position before the season started, but potential Rookie of the Year Ja Morant has helped them defy everyone's expectations. The young Morant is putting up 17.6 points, 6.9 assists, and 3.5 rebounds in his first year in the league thanks to his eye-popping athleticism and rapidly improving court vision. The Grizzlies may not make any noise in the playoffs, but just reaching them would represent a remarkable achievement for the organization. Down in the 10th spot in the West are the New Orleans Pelicans, who are still in the race for the playoffs even with their 28-36 record. They'll have to scratch and claw their way up the standings in order to snag the 8th seed, but they just might be able to do so if Zion Williamson maintains his hot streak when play resumes. The heralded rookie Ford out of Duke has only played in 19 NBA games, but he averaged 23.6 points and 6.8 rebounds while shooting 59% from the field in that sample size. If he continues to produce at that level and teammates like Lonzo Ball, JJ Redick, Drew Holiday, and Brandon Ingram do the same, the Pelicans could steal the 8th seed. Though they're also not receiving much attention, the Toronto Raptors own the 2nd seed in the East with a 46-18 record. They've managed to stay relevant mostly due to the efforts of Pascal Siakam, who's averaging 23.6 points and 7.5 rebounds in a career year so far. The reigning champs will continue to bring a balanced approach to the game, relying on guys like Kyle Lowry, Serge Ibaka, Mark Gasol, and Fred VanVleet to do their part to win games. Below them in the 3rd seed are the Boston Celtics, a team many believe could actually make a deep playoff run this year. They have a 43-21 record, and they sport one of the deepest rotations in basketball. Most significantly, third-year forward Jason Tatum has exploded in this season, averaging 23.6 points and 7.1 boards per game. Tatum can score on the perimeter and in the paint, and he's also proven he can make his teammates better with the ball in his hands. When you have great players like Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, and Enes Kanter on the floor with Tatum, you have a starting five that's capable of beating almost anyone. Next up is the Miami Heat, who are in 4th place in the East with a 41-24 record. They quietly had an impressive season due in large part to the addition of Jimmy Butler. Butler has become the team's de facto leader, putting up 20.2 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 6.1 assists per contest. He's also surrounded by young stars like Kendrick Nunn, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Herro. The Heat may be too young to go all the way this year, but they could upset a higher seed if they get hot at the right time. The Philadelphia 76ers have disappointed many of their fans this year, falling all the way to the 6th seed in the East before the season was suspended. Despite bringing back their core and adding Josh Richardson and Al Horford, they're just 39-26 right now. In order for them to reassert themselves as a top 3 team in the East, Joel Embiid will have to dominate their final 8 games and beyond. The big man is putting up 23.4 points and 11.8 rebounds per game, and he has the potential to take over a game whenever he feels like it. Ben Simmons, Horford, Tobias Harris, and Richardson will have to provide support, but it's up to Embiid to make his mark. The Denver Nuggets may not appear to be a championship-bound team, but they're certainly no pushover. They have the 3rd seed in the West with their 43-22 record, and they have arguably the best big man in the game in Nikola Jokic. The 5th-year center is averaging 20.2 points, 10.2 rebounds, and 6.9 assists this year, continuing to show off his skills in every facet of the game. Even if Denver's opponents focus their attention on the Joker, he'll have help from teammates like Jamal Murray, Paul Millsap, Will Barton, and Gary Harris. The Nuggets probably won't reach the finals, but they'll make some of the West's best teams sweat a little. At 4th place in the West are the Utah Jazz, who own a 41-23 record. They have a very well-balanced team, but the dynamic Donovan Mitchell is still the undisputed leader of the team. Though it's only his 3rd year, Mitchell is putting up 24.2 points per game. This year, he's received more production from the rest of the team thanks to new additions like Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, and Bojan Bogdanovic. The Jazz are always a sleeper team in the playoffs, and their combination of staunch defense and balanced scoring will make them a tough out. Even more surprisingly, the Houston Rockets fell all the way to the 6th spot in the West before the season was suspended. They're 40-24 right now, but many expected more from them after they traded for Westbrook and paired him with James Harden. The Beard is in the midst of yet another monster year, averaging a league-high 34.4 points per game. Westbrook also had a resurgence in the second half of the season, but they'll need more from players like Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker to make a serious run this year. The Portland Trail Blazers are in 9th in the West, but they're still in playoff orientation with their 29-37 record. And for the first time in a long time, they may finally have a roster that's almost fully healthy. Rodney Hood is still on the shelf, and Trevor Ariza opted out of playing in the bubble. But Zach Collins is set to return, and Jusuf Nurkic may also see the floor again. Either way, Damian Lillard will have to put his team on his back again if Portland wants to make it back to the Western Conference Finals. He's averaging a career-high 28.9 points at the moment, and he'll need his backcourt mate CJ McCollum to threaten defenses to maintain that kind of production. NBA basketball may look different this season, but one thing will remain the same. The game stars will determine who reaches the playoffs and who eventually wins a championship. Now it's time to find out who's ready to take their team all the way to the top. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on content, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.